Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Anime Soirée where we are discussing Attack on Titan Season 4, the anime. I am Will. With me are Kyle, Abbas, and Griffin. Um, yeah, so we're just going to be discussing the newest episodes. This episode's going to be 1 through 3, and then every week we're going to try to get to the newest episode. And um, out of all of us, Kyle, Griffin, and I have read all the remaining manga, and Boss is currently working his way through it. But we will keep the manga spoilers out and just talk about the anime. I guess I'll start with my general thoughts on the first 3 episodes. I really like it so far. I think the anime is pretty fucking great. The animation is pretty fucking stellar. The aesthetic is awesome. Especially like the scenes that have like a low sun in them, like sunset or sunrise. I saw them a lot in the most recent episode. I thought the animation was really nice. I like the redesigns for some of the characters. They're not like huge redesigns, but I think Mappa is doing a great job. Um, some people like dislike the CGI Titans. I'm okay with them. Yeah, so far really enjoying the anime.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
good so far.
yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
No, this part is kind of, doing a lot of setup, I would say. Specifically just like for what's about to come, considering that we haven't really seen any of our main guys. It's kind of definitely a weird kind of left turn for the series for sure, where all of a sudden we're outside of the wall, we're setting up all of like the kind of like political setup for when inevitably our main characters will return and interact with this new world in interesting ways. So a lot of setup going on in these chapters, or I mean in these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the explanation of what Eldians are, how they fit into Paradise, and like what the process of like actually becoming one of the Nine Titans looks like, and having the children from a young age, like basically being motivated to do it or work hard to become one of the Nine Titans so that you can free your family from a life of slavery, basically. And then kind of working off that, the showcasing of Annie, Bertold, and Reiner, their POV for the destruction of Wall. Oh, dude, I don't Walmaria.
Marina.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, it kind of just it kind of makes it seem less scary now that we see all this. Going back to like the first season and seeing all that, because you're kind of left in the dark. And now they're kind of illuminating it, and it just makes it more interesting. And like Kyle said, it's kind of set up, but it really just adds more intrigue to what Aaron and the gang's reaction will be to all of this and how they move forward from here.
Yeah, and with the setup, I like the parallel between like these new children that we're following, the new Marleyan warriors, and like it's a very similar parallel to season 1 when we're going through training camp and meeting all the new characters, and they're both in like a training setting, and I thought that was an interesting like shift in the point of view and how this anime handles it. And
Yeah.
then oh yeah, go ahead, boss.
I was just gonna say quickly, I appreciate the fact that because we end season three at a pretty like high point in the show. Like there was a lot of action packed through season three and a lot of explanation happening as well. And season four, like the way it starts, it doesn't hold back on the action because I feel like it would be like it's nice to have explanation and there's a lot of it, but we also see just as much action as well. And I think that's important to keep viewers like engaged and to keep building off of the momentum you have going into the season. As someone who like binged the entire thing rather than like watching season three when it came out or a while ago, I appreciate the continued momentum moving into season four, like the constant like war scenes, battle scenes intermixed with explanations and exposition on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's something I really valued.
Yeah. I do kind of miss seeing the zip line stuff, like the 3D
The ODM
maneuver
gear.
gear. I mean, it definitely is cool to see more like the Titans used tactically as weapons of war. I really like the part in the first episode where Zeke does his like Titan yell and like turns a bunch of like a bunch of Eldian people into like the pure Titans and basically uses them as like Titan bombs.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're basically just like huge giant bombs that are being dropped from the plane, and then some of them get up and start eating people, which is like pretty smart use for the Titans. So like that like I like that. I like seeing the Titans used tactically. That is kind of like makes up for the lack of like the ODM gear or the 3D gear or whatever. But I do miss those like really memorable scenes of like zipping around the city, chopping up Titans with like the Spider-Man gear. That was like definitely one of like the main draws of the action scenes for me.
I actually really like kind of how they're framing Reiner within all of this, like kind of setting him up as like he was never even supposed to be a Titan. He's kind of like a loser a little bit, and his perspective on everything and how he had to kind of grow into a leadership position because the moment those four kids landed on Paradise, the supposed leader died immediately. I don't know his name. What was his name?
Marcel.
Yeah, Marcel.
So,
Yeah, Marcel, dying right away. And then Reiner and the kids basically, like, dealing with what's supposed to be, an assault on an entire nation to recover the founding Titan has immediate issues, and these kids just kind of struggling with it. It's good framing for Reiner, and honestly, it's really really good characterization, and it makes you feel for them a lot more than just like monsters, because they have struggles despite their objective being like whatever it takes to recover the founding Titan, and it just makes the story that much more emotional because they have things they're fighting for as well. They're not one note bad guys, which I like a lot. I like it when the antagonists or the opposing forces, they have a reason to be bad or they have a reason to hurt the protagonist. And I think Attack on Titan does a really good job with that.
Yeah. This I think episode 3 is definitely my favorite so far of the season, just because I was kind of a big Reiner fan going into it, and getting the backstory on Reiner is really nice and it's really well done. And it really reminded me of the episode. I think it's in season 3, part 2, where they go into Grish's backstory and you see like him with his wife and the kid and all of that, and like his backstory, because up until that point you're kind of unclear. It's like he kind of seems like a bad person. He forces Aaron to become a Titan, to become the Attack Titan, and he kills the royal family and stuff. But then you get his backstory, and it like makes him more of a two-dimensional or a three-dimensional character, and like has different motivations. And I think that's like an area that the show excels in, and the story excels in the most, is like making these characters that are pretty gray area. They're not good, they're not bad, they're like somewhere in between. And the episode with Grisha and then this episode most recently do a very good job portraying these characters in such a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real quick. That's just a really quick thing. When Griffin was saying like how like the plan immediately going wrong kind of like puts Reiner in a position where he kind of has to take a leadership role. I like how it's kind of funny how earlier they're like, guys, do you think it's like a good idea to send these like literal children to like do this really important like military operation just by themselves? And they're like, nah, they're fine. They're like wrecking this like country's army, so they'll be fine. They like address the fact that like it's a pretty dumb idea to just send children like unsupervised on like some secret mission. And of course, shit goes wrong. But I think it's funny that they actually address it because a lot of other shows. I mean, I don't know if it like makes it better because it's like still kind of dumb that they would do that, but it's kind of funny in like a meta sense that they like address the fact that it's dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it like also makes it tougher to kind of. I think moving throughout the first 3 seasons, there's a very clear like side I personally want to back, and it's like Aaron's side. Like like there's these Titans and like they're killing humans and they should probably be dead. Like they're like vicious. They have no remorse for their actions, and then because of the backstory and because you get so much of this exposition into the Marlins or like the honorary Marlin warriors, it kind of makes it tougher for me because now I'm like, well, now I understand like, okay, these I forgot Eludians or how you pronounce
Eldians.
Eldians, yeah, like Eldians like went through hell, like they're still going through hell. Like all these Titans are actually Eldians that are being sent, as a form of punishment into this country. Like Eldians have just been constantly abused. It doesn't matter whether you're on inside the wall or outside the wall. I just don't know who to support anymore. Like who I want to personally back. And I feel for the little kids that are signing up to become warriors to bring honor to their family name because of some stigma against Eldians, and it makes me like want to support them and vouch for them as much as I want to vouch for Aaron and his goal to, eliminate all Titans because they basically destroyed his family.
Yeah, I would agree with the boss that you kind of want to root for everyone, and I think that we probably all feel the same way. Maybe not like, I don't know, like that cop that killed Grisha's sister. Probably not that guy, but most of the main characters.
Probably not that guy.
we want to root for them, and I think I know why. I think another thing that the show really excels at is that this world is fucking brutal. It is a horrific place to live. If you're in the walls, you're being attacked by giant monsters that are at any potential moment on the verge of killing everyone you love, everyone you know, and basically everything in between. And then if you're, outside of Paradise and in the rest of the world, if you're an Eldian or even a Marleyan, you're under this intense racial battle with basically slavery. And if you're an Eldian, you're trying your hardest to basically get the support of your owners to become an honorary Marleyan or just not act in a way that is out of favor so they don't enslave you and make you a Titan bomb. And then, if you're not in Marley, there's a goddamn world war going on with Marleyans just murdering that Middle Eastern faction. And it's just a horrific fucking place to live. So all these characters have all these outlets where they can have a better life for their family, for themselves, for whatever. And so you really want to see them capture that outlet and succeed. And I think that that's one of the reasons I like Attack on Titan so much, is that it's basically a free-for-all and everybody has these paths where they can succeed. But, they all intersect and they all overlap and there's always a collision. And I know what I'm talking about is pretty general, and but I think and I hope that you guys understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sorry, go for it, Will.
Just really quick, that entire honorary Marleyan thing, something I've noticed is it just seems like a fucking carrot on a stick. If you behave, you'll be an honorary Marleyan, and it doesn't seem like at all we haven't really seen what that means and how much of an impact being an honorary Marleyan and how much of a change in life that has. And it just seems like they're dangling it in front of the kid's face to be on your best behavior and be the good warrior that you're supposed to be, and yeah, you'll be a Marleyan just like us.
I feel like the actual carrot is in this situation is literally just your life. It's if you're chosen as being one of the warriors, or you're enslaved into it, or if you sign up just the fact that you're an Eludian and a non-Marleyan is a constant threat to your life, right? You see it when Grisha and his sister just leave the gates and they're constantly harassed. Not only his sister end up dying eventually, but even as they're walking past strangers, the strangers are belittling them and saying what the hell are you doing here, scumbags, you shouldn't be here. So I just think it's almost they feel these honorary Marleans feel like this is like a way to salvage what little of life we can be promised or something like that. But at the end of the day, I still agree with you, Will. Like, I still think it's a pretty shitty carrot. Like, it shouldn't be an incentive whatsoever because it's just perpetuating that system of being slaves to the Marleans.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, like that. There's, like so little that is shown as to like what improvements they see. Like they don't even really like a lot of the characters. It kind of seems like they're doing this for their family. Like they want their family to have a better life. Like Reiner wants his mom to be able to live with his dad, and it's like obviously like he had a false assumption, like he thought that his dad would also want to live with his mom, but really she was just saying that like they're not allowed to live together to kind of like make it easier on him, that like she doesn't want to like tell Reiner that dad doesn't want him as a child. But like I feel like a lot of them are kind of doing it for their family, and like it's weird that we don't really see that like their families like live a better life because their children are like the warriors. Like they still look like they live in the ghettos. Like when this in the scene when Reiner and Gabby are having dinner with their family, it seems like they like live in a shitty place and they still live in the ghettos, like even though their kids are literally like the warriors. So it's like, why are they doing this then? If it's like not for their families or like to make their families' lives better, because it kind of seems like they're like presenting it as if it is, but they're not really showing us what that looks like.
That's true because like they showed like Grisha and Dina's like setup, and like they were not honorary Marlians; they were both Eldians, and like their place
Yeah.
did not look better than any of the places that any of the honorary Marlian families are at.
Yeah, they're all still in that internment camp. It's pretty fucked.
Damn.
Yeah.
It seems like Zeke is maybe a bit better off, but that's just slightly. I feel like I don't know. Maybe he has a bit more respect to his name for the heroic acts he's done.
A bit older.
He's also been in the game for like 12 years at this point. So
yeah, exactly. He's more.
And he gets to like sit at the table with like the Marlians and kind of like discuss military plans and stuff.
Yeah, and he's like able to give them like he literally in episode 2 he like tells them, or no, it's the end of episode 1. He's like, I want to invade paradise, and like they go along with it. They're not just like you're gross Eldian.
Yeah, maybe it's just like everyone else that we see is pretty young, so maybe it's just like we don't see a direct benefit to their families, but maybe there's some benefit in terms of like the respect you get if you like stick around in the system long enough, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they obviously can't be killed for no reason. Like they have like
they get the special armbands. Like you see, they get the yellow armbands when they're in training, but once they were like actually warriors, they have the red armbands.
Yeah, so like that's how they know that the guards like can't just kill them for no reason like they did with Grisha's sister.
So maybe that's the benefit.
Just can't be randomly killed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at when I was saying like the benefit is literally just their life, like them being able to live and not like be slaughtered for no good reason.
Yeah, so pretty great to be an honorary Marlian.
Yeah, seems like a big improvement. I know we kind of already talked about this, like in the. I guess I should just say it. We already recorded this episode basically, but it kind of got messed up. But one thing we talked about in the initial recording, well, it's just like a funny line, and it kind of plays off what I was saying earlier in that this world is pretty messed up. And that's when like Reiner went back to his family and he was like basically telling war stories about like all the Eldians on Paradise. And he was like, God, they were disgusting. This one girl like offered half a potato to, the sergeant or whatever. And it wasn't even half. And she saw nothing wrong with that. And this other guy was like loud and this other guy was like stupid. And they were like, oh my God, disgusting. These gross devils. And that's still, that scene, even a week later, I think is really, really jarring. I don't know if Reiner meant it. He might have just been putting on airs. But seeing the family's reaction was pretty funny.
Yeah, what exactly was Reiner trying to convey?
Yeah, wait, I thought that was
I thought he was like trying to like, I thought he was saying like something mundane, just because like he kind of knew it was mundane, but like he knew the reaction of his family, no matter what he said, would be like, "Oh my god, you poor thing," kind of.
Yeah, I honestly thought like his tone was just a tad bit like sardonic. Like
Yeah,
I thought he was like oh yeah, like they're so devilish. Like they gave they gave him a quarter of a potato or something like that. Um, like it's like I don't know. I felt that humor was coming from the fact that the viewers are supposed to think it's sardonic, but I guess you don't have to think that. You can.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Reiner is one of those characters where, like, since he's just crazy, it's like hard to like. You can just interpret anything that he says as like, oh, he meant it, or oh, he's just crazy. So don't worry.
I don't know if he's crazy. I think
I
he's
mean,
troubled.
Well, I mean, he like literally has like a split personality disorder. Like when he was like over in paradise, like he has he like sometimes thinks that he's like legitimately a soldier, and then sometimes remembers that he's a warrior.
oh yeah, the
So
scene with like Aaron and Ymir, where they were
Yeah.
like on
Yeah.
the trees, and he was like, "Oh, we gotta save him, guys! Can't wait!" And Aaron's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, wait. Do we get to see more of that? Like, I guess bipolarness. Like,
I feel like
I
it
don't.
didn't really go anywhere.
I mean,
like, I mean, we
he
don't.
tried to kill himself this episode.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's
he's
true.
obviously
But like,
very
yeah.
troubled, and
No, but I thought that didn't seem like it was bipolar. That just seemed like I've been through shit and like I don't want to keep
Yeah.
going through
Well,
it.
I mean, you don't have to put a label on it necessarily. It might be like a couple things. It might be bipolar, but I think that if you're just a mentally unstable person, putting a gun to your mouth would be a strong indicator that that's true, and you're still mentally unstable.
Yeah, Reiner is definitely mentally unstable, and that's pretty consistent. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then the end of the episode, this most recent episode, we get to see Aaron, which was apparently, I guess, he was the soldier uh, that we got to see last episode. That was it Falco helps out with his armband, and Aaron gives him like a little speech at the end, and the episode ends. So pretty cool. Uh, get to see one of the gang. He's been in disguise.
Yeah,
yeah,
you get to see a
I
little
kind of
bit
like
of his.
I really like Aaron's speech at the end,
Yeah.
like where he's kind of like, like people do fucked up shit, and they like, there's always something driving them, and he kind of is talking about like for some people it's like a product of their environment, and I feel like that's definitely true for a lot of like the Marlians, or the people living in Marley, like the people who are trying to be honorary Eldians, like Reiner and his crew. But then he's also like some people are just like driven by something like deep inside them, and I mean that's definitely Aaron. Like he just, he wants he's got to have his freedom. That's Aaron. So and but then he's like, I really like the part where he's like, and like, no matter what you're driven by, you don't really know like what you're gonna get, like because of like, you just got to keep going, and even if you don't know how it's gonna end, and you know, Aaron is definitely. I mean, we're all uncertain. I mean, at this point of what Aaron's reaction is going to be to all of this. So definitely looking forward to see that because it's going to get interesting. That's for sure.
Does anyone know like what his age is supposed to be at like when he's shown at the end of episode 3?
Is it 19?
Yeah, 19.
Jeez, my guy looks 34, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to be like a hobo.
Yeah, that's true. I think it might be intentional, like the facial hair.
He's
and the look.
succeeding. He's definitely succeeding.
Also, I'm pretty sure there's like a running joke in the show about how many times we get to see Marcel's death, and we got to see it again this episode, so that's pretty lit.
Yeah, that's true. We do see that a lot from a lot of different characters'
Finally, we
perspectives.
found out how Marcel died. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're proud of that
Damn.
one. I mean, it was cool. I'm kind of like pissed off though that like basically Ymir just like I don't know.
I'm pissed off that she basically died off screen.
Yeah, it seemed kind of.
It's also pretty convenient that like they never really explain like the reason why Ymir like comes out of the ground at that specific moment.
I think it's because they're camping on top of her.
I mean, I don't you think there would be like a lot of Titan foot traffic on top of her too, like before that? I don't know.
Well, I'll say this: Titans are attracted to humans, right? And like Titans wouldn't necessarily be attracted to other Titans, so I guess it's possible that like a human smell wouldn't be around her for that long beforehand.
Okay, yeah, I
possible.
could buy that. I could buy that.
Or whatever they're
She's just
attracted to by humans. I would guess it's the
Yeah.
smell.
Also, I thought they said in the show like Titans aren't supposed to be in this area. Like they're closer to the wall or something.
Yeah, they do say that.
yeah. But then it's like, why was Ymir able to just take a nap, like when all the other Titans are like driven by their desire for humans?
Well, Ymir is not like other Titans, right? Because she's like
No, she is. She's made it.
She was.
At that point she was a pure Titan. She was made exactly the same way as all the other ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding something in the story. Then I thought.
No, yeah, all of the pure Titans were made by just like Ymir was, where it's just like people that are Eldians that live in Marley that did something bad. They just bring them over there and they squirt them full of Titan
Right,
juice,
but
and then they turn
later
into
in the
Titan.
show, when we find out that she can turn human, right?
Yeah, but that's only because she ate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only because she ate what's his name, the guy.
Marcel. So
and she got the power of the Jaw
She
Titan.
falls asleep,
that makes
and she wakes
sense.
up and eats Marcel, and she gets the Jaw Titan powers, which means she turns human.
Question. So they might have messed up here, but I know that as a Titan, a pure Titan that eats one of the, actual one of the 9 Titans, you like kind of transform a little bit, right? Like you look different. But when Ymir eats the
they definitely did not. They did not plan that far ahead when they were explaining. There's no way, because like they would have made her look cooler if she was like one of the 9 super special Titans.
Because she looks exactly the same, right?
Yeah, she doesn't like gain any. Yeah, she looks exactly the same.
Well, they could have made her look worse, which is hard to do, but they could have made her look worse.
I mean, they could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did.
Goblin.
You know what I'm saying about though, right? Like fucking, like Armin goes from skinny nerd child to like the colossal Titan, and like I guess we never got to see what Aaron looked like before. But who else? Maybe it's further in the show, but I won't say anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that this author had planned out, like probably in broad strokes, like what the story was going to be before he started writing it, but definitely a lot of the details he was making up as he went, for sure. And I mean, that's fine. Like that's something that's going to be the case for any like story that's as long as this. I mean, it's been going on for a while now, so I don't blame him. But it's just not. It's not perfect.
It was pretty rare for a show to be this long and like this, and follow like one storyline pretty much. It's pretty rare, right? Like, can you think of like a show this long that follows like the same characters fighting for the same goal?
I mean, like, there are a lot of like long-running shonen.
I don't know, but I feel like they're like kind of carved out into arcs. I feel like they've been fighting for the same fucking thing this entire time. Not that I'm complaining about it, but like with Hunter x Hunter, they're like, okay, we gotta be a hunter. Okay, we gotta go fight in the arena. Okay, let's go into the video game. Okay, let's kill an army of ants. And this one, it's like, bro, we gotta get out of the wall and kill everyone that's trying to stop us from living our life happily. And that's been the whole show. I feel like
I think it's
I mean, you could still split this up into arcs too. Like, I mean, Hunter x Hunter has like the central goal of like finding Gon's dad.
That's true.
And like everything is in service of that. And like this is like you could split into arcs just as well. Like with like you could say like, okay, now like it's the Trost part, and then is like the female Titan part, and then like the part where we're first introduced to like Zeke and like the Beast Titan and what he can do when they thought that the wall was breached when it was actually not. Like there's still arcs in this show.
That's fair.
The way I think about it is like I feel like a lot of other shows like when there's new arcs presented, it's almost like a new path, like going from like a brick path to a stone path, right? Like, but in this show, they're all like there are arcs, but they're blended so well together that it's like you're almost always on the same path. It's just like different turns and twists that happen along the way, right? It's like slight alteration of the goal that happens along the way, but that can have like fundamental, impact on the next 5, 6, 7 episodes. But I still think there's arcs. I just think they're much more blended together compared to other shows.
Yeah, there's kind of like this is kind of like a downside I would say to that approach is that there's like less of like a sense of like progression and like growth. It's kind of like like a lot of times like all they do in an arc is like mitigate losses or something. You know, like
Well,
there's not a lot of like,
yeah,
and,
I
and I mean
think
I understand that's just like partially due to the premise of the show, but it just kind of like does make it a little bit less satisfying to kind of like go from one arc to another, and it kind of makes it
there's
all
a
kind
bit
of
of
feel muddy.
progression between 3 and 4 for sure, right? Like time skip, whole new part of the
Oh
world.
yeah, I mean, like I would say that like the basement, like getting the answers to the basement is like the thing that like I've been waiting for since like the very beginning of the show. So like definitely like when we got there and we got like all the crazy answers, like that was like I would say that that was like the first like big payoff,
Yeah.
because everything else was just like either like little victories or like mitigating losses.
Well, I think this show does progression also a bit differently, because I think the progression that happens in the show isn't like a check the mark, like check the box. You know, we've like completed a task. It's more like, oh look, here's the next secret that you didn't know that you now know. Right? It's like first you find out, okay, this world has titans. Then you find out Aaron's a titan. Then you find out, oh shit, everyone else is also a titan. Then you find out, you know, oh, but like titans can like eat other titans and like you know consume their powers or and become titans. Then you find out, oh, like Armin is now a titan as well. So it's like secrets being unlocked versus like you know like we achieve like a set out objective, and then you know once we've achieved it, it's like now we have a new objective that we must achieve. Like that also happens with like especially with the basement, but I think it's the progression in the show is just much more. It's just different.
Yeah. Although, yeah, I feel like a lot of those like secrets are really just like more questions, because it's like once you find out that people turn into titans, you're like, okay, like what is their goal? Like why? And then like that is like just like yet another question. And like how did Aaron turn into a titan? Like that is just like yet another question. So I mean, there's definitely like information that's given, but there's also a lot that's like withheld as well.
Kind of going back to Griffin was talking about like the uniqueness of the show. He like mentioned the time skip. I think like the way that the time skip has been executed, and obviously they base it off the source material, but like I can't remember another show that does like such a major shift between seasons. Like this season's 4 years after the last season.
Gurren Lagann.
Okay, but did Gurren Lagann switch like the cast at all?
What do you mean?
Well,
Switch
I
the
mean,
cast?
What?
kind of, but it like yeah, I don't know. Not everyone has seen Gurren
Wait,
Lagann,
wait,
so
I-
well,
I-
wait, you haven't seen it? Never mind. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I just think it's pretty cool how like well they've executed it so far. Like the fact that like this season's a time skip and we're focusing on mostly new characters, and like I'm still very interested in it. Like it's not like I'm like I don't give a shit about these characters. Like they're introducing the new characters, making us care about them, making us interested in them, and also like giving us information about the world. Like not like information dump, but like pretty pretty well integrated into the plot line.
One thing I would say though is like maybe it's just me, but like I have a hard time keeping track of names, like figuring out whose
Really?
name is what. Like there's enough characters I feel that have been introduced in these 3 episodes alone that I honestly could not tell you what Marcel looks like, or like what you know X Y. Like if you said this person's name, I there's like 4 or 5 kids. Then there's like you know the older group of warriors, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, and then there's like their commanders and stuff like that. There's like 2 3 of those people. um like for me it's just personally a lot to keep track of. I personally would wish there was a bit more, I don't know, just like just some way, I don't know what way, but I know the manga tries to do it a bit more, of like kind of letting you understand the characters. And they do have that one scene where they're like, "Oh, this person is going to get this titan. Like this titan's perfect for this person." I guess that's the kind of stuff that helps me break down the individuals a bit more and learn and remember their names.
I think
There's quite a few right now, and I honestly can't keep track of them.
I think we talked about this a little bit over text, and I think Kyle was saying that like it was the art style, basically. At least in the manga, it's really hard to keep track, but especially with the black and white, it's like almost impossible. But even the anime, like it's like a pretty simple like art style. Everybody looks like real people. It's not like your typical like anime like giant eyes with crazy colors and crazy hair, and they got like some insane superhero outfit or anything. Everybody looks like a normal ass person, and I think that's what makes it hard for me. But now that I've read up to the last chapter. Like I know everybody. I think.
Yeah, I think I I could definitely see where you're coming from, boss. I don't know. I can't really shed any light on it just because like I think having read the manga, like I am more familiar with the characters. Yeah, Griffin and I were talking about earlier, like the black and white in the manga. It's a little bit hard to tell some of the characters apart just based off their design, but like name wise, I'm pretty comfortable with all of them. I think. And I think maybe that's just because, like we were talking about it last week when we were talking about Isaacin, like they all have Japanese names, and I'm less comfortable with like remembering Japanese names. Whereas Attack on Titan, they're all pretty much all of them are Western names, and like that's a lot easier. Besides like Mikasa, I think it's because her heritage is Japanese or Asian or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the Western names is like a bit easier, like Gabby and Aaron and Reiner. Like these are like relatively easy to remember names. And like maybe it's just because I've read the manga, but like I never really had a trouble with the names, more just sort of the faces.
No, I mean I definitely think this is more of a me problem because it wasn't until like basically season 2 was done that I could finally remember Reiner's name anytime I wanted to talk about it. So like I definitely think like I just personally have a hard time, and there's a lot of characters in this show, so it's just
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
two
it's
of
kind
those.
of insane. It's kind of insane. Wait, yeah, there's so many, and there's so many more to come.
Yeah, I mean, also, I would say that like this part in particular is like, I mean, obviously it's pretty disorienting just because there's like so many new characters introduced and our old ones are gone, so we don't really have that like anchor, like of like where we're like, all right, I know that I need to care about these characters, so like I will kind of care about the new characters through their interactions with the characters that I already know. Like we don't have that. Like it's
Oh,
just like,
that's
all right,
true.
we're dealing. I mean, except for like Reiner, I guess, but like he like especially at the very beginning, he doesn't really have like a huge role. Just
Yeah.
like we're like learning about the kids and like all of these like new titans. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a bit of that where it's like just because it changed so drastically to like set up like this world, like we don't, the characters are kind of almost secondary to like the world that it's setting up at this point, um, which is kind of disorienting, I guess. So I see where a boss is coming for sure.
Was there anything else we wanted to talk about? I kind of want to go to bed soon. I'm pretty tired.
I mentioned the animation. I really liked it. I just want to know if you guys had any thoughts on it. Oh, music is also extremely good.
Oh, I guess the opener as well would be the first time we talked about it. I love the opener.
Yeah, opening is really good. Fits
Yeah.
the theme very well.
I was saying before, I kind of miss. I don't think it was on the podcast. I don't. I kind of miss the the old openings where like literally like the lyrics were like military propaganda about like killing the Titans and like sacrificing your life, which I thought was cool because it was kind of like in universe. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool too.
All right. If there's nothing else, I guess that's it for our weekly coverage of Attack on Titan Season 4.
Woo!
All right. That's it for today. See y'all next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.